Hi guys, I thought I would give you an update on how things are going for me with my rheumatoid arthritis, my evil twin. I spoke with my rheumatologist this past week, and we did some lab work, and the lab work has come back in, and I am no longer in a remission status. I am in what's considered to be a moderate disease activity category. I'll put a little graph in here, right here, and show you kind of what the different categories are. But there's a low disease activity category, moderate disease activity category, and high disease activity category. The test that I use is called the test that he used is called a Vectra DA test. It's Vectra DA test. What it does is it looks at 11 different biomarkers and assesses a value to those biomarkers based on how active they are. And I don't know exactly how all of this works, and then it gives you a combined score, and that's what you go off of. So my lowest score was in March of 2018, and it was a 29. And 29 is the very upper limit of the low disease activity category. The highest number that I've had was 3 years prior to that. April 2015, it was a 51. 51 is in the high disease activity category. And what you'll see on this graph when I put it in here, it's really kind of crappy, is low disease activity is 1 to 29, moderate is 30 to 44, and then high is 45 to 100. So you got a pretty big range there in the high category. So let me put that chart in here. Okay, so right now I'm at a 37. So I'm right in the middle of the moderate category. So what that says to me, and I haven't spoken with my rheumatologist yet, we've been emailing back and forth about this, but what that says to me is that I don't have the full brunt of my disease kicking my ass right now. I'm on 2 other medications that are part of the whole cocktail of meds that we think put me in remission. So there are 2 pills that I take, and then there's an infusion called Rituxan that I take. And it's the Rituxan that my rheumatologist was not wanting me to get because of COVID-19. The way Rituxan works is it takes, I explained this in a post, but everybody has B cells in their blood. And the B cells are part of the cells that fight off infection. And Rituxan kills all of them, just wipes them all out to 0. So basically I have a 0 B cell count if the Rituxan has been doing everything successfully that it's supposed to do. The B cells are so important because when you get an infection, the B cells are like, whoa, wait a minute. We've got a foreign invader here. It's called the flu virus or whatever. And there's another component to your blood called T cells. And it says, hey, T cells, come on, let's go kick this guy's ass. So the T cells and the B cells go together. They kick the virus or the bacteria or the cold or whatever. They kick its ass and it's out of there. So if I don't have any B cells, my T cells never get the message that there is a foreign invader. And so they just like sit around and have no idea what's going on. In the meantime, whatever cold or virus is that I have, that starts kicking my ass. So with the COVID-19, there's such a high level of contagiousness, is that a word? Contagion? With the disease, and my immune system is already suppressed, and that's why I've been self-quarantining, and I've been just like hyper vigilant with touching things, because if I get the COVID-19 virus in my body, I won't be able to fight it off on my own. I could die. I talked about that before. I'm not going to go into that again. So what my rheumatologist, I'm going to read what he wrote, what my rheumatologist had to look at. So this is the decision that he's having to make, whether or not I can get the infusion that I need to hopefully put me back in remission. I'm sure there's an element of timing with this. Also, because the longer that I'm away from, the longer that I stay out of remission, I imagine it gets harder and harder and harder to achieve remission again. So like the slope keeps getting steeper the longer you stay away from it. So I think that's probably a component of him making this decision. But he said, after reviewing your treatments, meaning the medications that I'm on and the infusions that I've taken in the past, and on the literature on the relative risk of COVID-19, the fact that my Vectra DA score is the highest that it's been in the last few years. So in the last few years, it's been below 37. It's been, I think, 34, and it was 29 that one year. And that you are on unacceptably high prednisone dosing. I think it's safe to retreat you with Rituxan. So these are the decisions that he's having to make. So I'm taking a dose of prednisone. If you can't see my round face in this video, then it's been too long since you've seen my face. So he's having to look at the relative risk of COVID-19 against how much prednisone I'm taking, how the prednisone is going to affect my body. And he has to weigh that and then make a decision if it's safe enough for me to get the infusion. So he feels at this point that it's safe enough. And again, I think he just wants to he wants me to stay as close to the remission as possible. He doesn't want that to get out of hand, and where my Vectra DA score might then jump back up into a high category, because it's really hard to go from that to remission. And I've been in that high category and it ain't no fun. So here's what'll happen. So my nurse, his nurse is going to call my insurance company and tell my insurance company that I need to have this infusion. The last time I checked on the infusion, this was a number of years ago, and per vial, it was $10,000 per vial. And I need 4 vials as my first dose. So $40,000. And the vials are like this big. I do have insurance, and I have been on a copay program with the manufacturer of the drug. And so that's been able to help me pay for the drug. The way that the drug works for me is, the way that it's administered is you have to go into an infusion clinic. And the infusion clinic is just like the clinics you see where cancer patients are in there. And I'm sure that I'm sitting in there next to cancer patients in some of these clinics where they're hooked up to an IV and they're sitting in a recliner, and, you know, they've got the IV stuck in their top of their hand or whatever. And they're just sitting there getting the drug in a drip over a period of time. And so that's the way that this is administered. Rituxan is a very powerful drug. It was originally a lymphoma cancer drug. And the medical community found out that it also works for putting rheumatoid arthritis at bay. And so I have no idea what the dosage is or how it compares to even if it's still a lymphoma drug. I have no idea. But it's so powerful that for my first dose, it takes me 8 hours to get my first dose. So the drip is going so slowly that I have to sit in the infusion clinic for 8 hours. The longest that I've sat in an infusion clinic is 10.5 hours. And that was torture. So my body also, when I get the first dose, the way it works is you get a dose and then 2 weeks later you get a follow-up dose. And then in 6 months, you get your second round. So this is why there are 4 vials in the first year. You get your second round. And again, first dose, 2 weeks later, second dose. So whenever I get my first dose, within the first 30 minutes of the infusion starting, my body has an allergic reaction to the drug. So things will start happening. It's like an immediate head cold. I'll start sneezing. My throat will be scratchy, and then pretty soon it feels like my throat is tightening up, and then I get itchy, and they have to pump me with prednisone and Benadryl. And so they have to have that at the ready so they can administer that right away so I don't die from the reaction that I'm having. So that's lovely. So before the infusion even starts, I have to take Benadryl before I leave my house. Then when we get there, they'll start the infusion. I have the reaction. Then they jam me full of more prednisone and more Benadryl. And then we have to basically wait for at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes before the symptoms subside and they can start the drip again. And they will have to start the drip at a slower drip pace and build it back up, and then it gets back to the normal rate at which it's supposed to go. But if at any time during the increase, periodically they will increase the drip rate, and if any time during that I start having another reaction, they have to back it back down. So my body says, we'll take up to here, and then we don't want any more. And so if they have to bump it up, my body's like, told you, didn't want it there, and give me a reaction, and there we go. So you have to take it like super gradually. And so that first day is 8 hours. I bring lunch, I bring snacks, I bring my laptop, I bring whatever, something to do. And then I feel like a truck hit me after the first day. So I've basically received chemotherapy for the first day, and I go home and I feel like a truck ran over me. So I usually sleep that day, might feel tired the next couple days. The dose is not as concentrated or as high as a cancer patient might receive the drug, because even though I do lose some hair, it doesn't all completely fall out like you'll see a cancer patient over, the course of their receiving cancer drugs. They lose all their hair, and I, thank God, don't do that. But so 2 weeks later, I go in, I get the second dose. So I've already got that medication in my body, and my body has already recognized that the drug is in there. And so when I get the second vial, I don't have that reaction. Typically, I don't have that reaction, but they still have to have Benadryl and prednisone at the ready, just in case that I do have another reaction to it. And the second dose typically can go faster than the first dose. So the second dose usually takes only 5 or 6 hours for me to get the infusion. The infusion clinic that I go to is gorgeous. It's like a spa. It looks like a spa. I wish it was a spa. Shit, they should make it a spa. That'd be a great idea. Give you a foot rub while you're getting all that done. I mean, come on. Anyway, so get the second dose, and then it's a wait and see. So you have to wait and see how long it takes before the drug actually gets down to the cellular level in your body and turns off that switch that your immune system has flipped on that says, hey, we want to go batshit crazy right now. And so it takes usually 6 to 8 weeks, I think, before it will start to kick in. So if I'm lucky, I will notice some relief like around the end of a month. But typically it's not that fast. So, and what we're hoping is that because I'm still taking the other 2 medications that was part of this cocktail, reintroducing this third ingredient will make the magic cocktail again, and I'll be able to go back into remission. So until then, I am being patched together still with unacceptably high prednisone dosing. That's what he said. So I'm still taking, today I started weaning down from 15 milligrams of prednisone. I took 1 milligram down. And if you've had to be on prednisone before, you have to go off of it. You have to go off of it in very gradual steps. If you don't, because I've been taking higher dose of prednisone since like December, if you don't do that, it actually shocks your body and your immune system is like, what the F, man? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing right here. You've had me turned off for 4 months. So you have to go off gradually. So your immune system has time to kind of wake back up and say, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, all right, I got it. So this, until I think like Friday, I'll do 14 milligrams, and then I'll go down to 13, and I'll do that for probably like another 5 days. Then do 12, and etc. and trying to get down. So, and I do expect that the pain level will be increased as I decrease my prednisone level. I have no idea how long it's going to take for my insurance and the doctor's office and, everybody sitting in their little cubicle to decide whether I really need this drug or not. So it still could take weeks before I'm able to get in and get this drug. So, please keep your fingers crossed, cross your legs, cross your toes, cross your eyes. I don't care what you cross, just cross it. That my insurance and the infusion clinic and everybody can get their shit together, and that I can get in and get this ridiculously long infusion going in my body so I can hopefully go back into remission. So there's no guarantee that I will go back into remission. So all of this is hoping that I can go back into remission. So cross everything, and I'll keep you guys posted as things go along. I have no idea what my immediate future is going to be like. I replied to an email to my rheumatologist saying, okay, with the existence of COVID-19, what will that look like for me? Will I be allowed to go out in public? Will I be able to go to the gym? Will I be able to volunteer? Will I be able to go shopping? And it's really him trying to determine how dangerous it would be for me to do those things, or if I still need to self-quarantine. And if for whatever reason there's not a vaccine or there's no protection when school starts in the fall, that's going to be really tricky with Bill being a school teacher. That likelihood that he brings something home to me. He gives me something every year that the kids spread around. You know, it's usually a nasty cold or whatever. But so that's going to be a little tricky if we're still plugging along back in, you know, in August, what we're going to do about that. So anyway, try not to worry about that at the moment. So I will keep it. Oh, there's Deucey snoring. It's his birthday today. Yay, happy birthday. So I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for listening to this video, watching this video, and supporting me through all of this. I really do appreciate it. I can't tell you how much I really do appreciate it. This whole situation is depressing. It's stressful. It's painful. Ooh, I'm starting to tear up. And it really does mean a lot when you guys give me well wishes. And when you know, pop up on Messenger and say, hey, just thinking about you, or, you know, whatever. It really does mean a lot, because I'm really just here at the house doing nothing. I've started adult coloring books. So that's what I'm doing. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I love you, and I will keep you posted.